Mr. Beast might genuinely be my favorite psycho. But before I get into that, you guys, I have to tell you about something else, right? That I just saw. Somebody's put out, or some people, I guess, I don't know. Well, a couple of actually random events, all right, to do with animals. First of all, I just saw right now a letter, not a letter, like a poster, because people are looking for their missing cat. Really quite funny based on what I always tell you guys about how I always see everybody's cats. It's always out at night when I'm out and about, right? Well, I've seen this cat. I don't know where the cat is, but this is the cat, the one that's always outside my door and just staring. Like, and even yesterday, or was it the day before, the last time I filmed a video indoors, I went to open the window just as I started. The cat was in the next door neighbor's garden and it just sat there again staring at me, right? And then I was like, maybe this is just in my head. So I went away. Maybe it's just because I opened the window. Obviously they can hear things. I went away. I was like, I'll come back and see if the cat is still staring at the window. The cat was still staring at the flipping window, mate. Creepy. And then yesterday, I don't know how I found myself in these situations. Yesterday, I was out. It was quite late. Yeah. It wasn't that late. It was like 10:15, 20 past 10, 20 to 10 kind of timing. Guys, this just keeps happening again. I'm going to tell you what just happened. I just had to pause the video for a second because of a dog. Last night's story was to do with the dog as well. It's all going to become quite funny when we circle back to me and the Mr. Beast thing. Because, I do as I usually do. As soon as I find something interesting, if I'm supposed to be sleeping, it's like, am I going to sleep? Wake up feeling more fleshly? Probably dream about people that I don't want to see in my dreams, either because I'm sad I don't get to see them or because I don't want to have to see them and this is supposed to be my one chance to have a break. Or am I going to fully immerse myself into some task, which is what usually happens. And honestly, this channel wouldn't exist if I didn't. So I watched all these Mr. Beast videos on Amazon Prime, right? I was watching all the videos of all the challenges. We're going to circle back to that. So last night, I come out of the shop, right? And there's a dog, like a little dog. I don't know what breed it was. And it was barking at me, which is very unusual. Because like what just happened to me literally just not even 2 minutes ago, just right now. I always see dog walkers because they're usually out and about the times I am. A, probably because of their work schedule. B, to avoid people. Love them. And normally, I get along with animals pretty well, I would say. So this dog barking at me, I was like, dogs never act like that around me. Like this dog I just saw nearly dislocated this old lady's shoulder because he wouldn't stop trying to jump. She's like, oh, he's just really friendly. And I was like, that's all right. I mean, he's an animal. Also, side note, isn't it crazy, and I've said this before, that a cat is just allowed to just like hurt people, but if a dog does like literally anything, they have to be put down. You guys know what I'm trying to say with what I just said, but we won't get into that. Yeah, this dog is barking at me, and I was thinking maybe they're just out on a walk, they didn't have a leash on them or anything, whatever. And this dog literally, as soon as I've not even stepped out of the shop, I just got to the door, starts barking at me, and I was like, what? But it wasn't like a normal dog bark of like excitement. It was more like the dog was trying to say something. And I feel like so many times these animals are trying to communicate something, and I'm trying so hard to figure out what they're trying to say. I had this situation with a cat another time when I was out at nighttime. It's like 2 a.m, and this cat I'm not used to seeing, but it looked very unkept and quite distressed. And so that's the only reason, because you guys know I hate cats, that's the only reason I stopped to like see what was going on, because I'm thinking, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And I have this thing, it's the same thing I have with children, which is going to factor into this as well, where I don't like to be backed into a corner where I'm wondering if I should call any type of services. because I don't trust them the same way I don't trust anybody. So my thought is always, this is one of the problems I experience in my job. One of the things I hate about it is if I feel like a child is in a really bad home, for example, and for me it'd have to be pretty extreme because we are humans. People are going to do things wrong. People are going through stuff. We've got to have grace. But I don't like that legally I'm supposed to call Child Protective Services, because, can I be honest, I've heard a lot more negatives than I have positives in my years of teaching. And just my years as a human being, to be honest. So I hate being in a situation like that. I hate these situations where I'm like, I don't know which side to go on. Because it's like, oh, so this is what I was thinking about with this cat. The second cat I mentioned, the one who was looking distressed. And this cat comes over to me and was meowing at me like it was trying to say something again. And I was just like, what's going on? Now, bearing in mind, there's another dog doing the dog thing. Bearing in mind, I don't know if this happens to everybody, but I just feel like animals in general, they always gravitate towards me. And it's kind of insane. Because like right now, this dog is like looking at me and trying to run over to where I am. I'm not the only person walking around here. Anyway, I saw this cat here, and I'd already noticed this house a few times walking past it, because I noticed that they didn't have any like curtains or any blinds like on the windows, which I just think is unwise. Purely just because people can like, and also because these windows are like towards the main road. So it's like everybody can see what's happening in there. And 2, the lights are always on. And 3, this kid came out to get the cat in the end, which was weird because the kid was probably like 10. And I was just like, that was another situation. I was like, I don't know what to do here. I'm like, God, what do I do? Thankfully, like a day or two later, ironically, I did see like some social services there. So we're just praying for the sake of that kid. Like I said, I feel like you're screwed either way. Whether you're a pet or whether you're a child, you're screwed either way, to be completely honest. But yeah, this cat came over to me and it was meowing at me like, and it was talking. It was like it was talking. I was thinking, damn, we messed up in the garden, because you guys know I'm convinced that prior to what happened down in the Garden of Eden, I'm convinced we used to be able to talk to animals. Like, I'm convinced we used to be able to like actually communicate and understand each other. But obviously we still can understand each other, because like I feel like if you've had a pet for long enough, hold on, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I just don't seem to be able to tie my shoelaces on these Converse very well. Oh, this is the Seventh-day Adventist church. Why didn't we say that before? And that means Sabbath school. Oh my gosh, you guys know I'm gonna have to come here now. This is only a few minutes from where I live. Best believe I'm gonna have to come here, because I've walked past this church so many times and they've never had good signage. I've never known what kind of church it is, but now we know. Now they've got all their services and everything. It says the time. Oh, okay, Saturday, Sabbath school, 9:30. Makes sense. Family worship, 11:15. Bible study, 3:30. Youth meeting. Does that say 8:30 or 3:30? 3:30 p.m. They should get somebody to trim this plant so people can actually read the sign. But anyway, how interesting. How very interesting. I'm going to have to pop in here. They've covered up the names of the pastors and the elders. That's hilarious. This cat's meowing at me and I'm thinking, bro, I'm already thinking, I don't think you're being looked after, which is going to circle us all the way back to this dog I saw outside the shop yesterday. You guys are just going to have to follow in my trails of thinking, okay? I said it before, my brain works in like tree branches and all the branches are growing at the same time. So it's just how it is, you know? Anywho, I stopped to talk to this cat and to see, like, and I never stop to talk to cats because I hate them, as I've said. And also, part of the reason I hate them is because, you know, I relate to them and I know what they're like. The same way that people are like, oh, the cat's not going to do anything. They're just a nice, trustworthy, fuzzly little pet. And I'm like, right, like people say about me. But if you knew what I was capable of, you wouldn't be doing that. You wouldn't be thinking that. But that's how we benefit in life. That's why cats get to do the bare minimum as a pet. And dogs have to do so much. Anyway, so this cat, I like squat down to talk to the cat and see what's going on. And, afterwards, I can't really tell what's happening exactly. But I know where the cat's home is. I don't know if it's the same night that I saw the little boy come out at like 2 a.m. of this house, or if it was on 2 different occasions. But nevertheless, as soon as I sit there and talk to the cat then, like, this is what happens, guys. This is insane. I then start walking away, and I'm going back to my normal walking speed, which I'm not walking at right now because I'm trying not to walk so fast in my videos if I'm like talking. No wonder this feels like this journey is so long. And then this cat is walking by me as if it's like my dog. That was like the weirdest thing ever. Like, so this cat then, since we've had this little conversation, it's like, follow me, like literally like a puppy that like I own. And I was thinking, this is not the behavior you see from cats ever. And I didn't notice. The only reason I noticed that this was happening is because I'd walked like a significant amount past where the cat lives, or I'm assuming the cat lives, and I accidentally knocked the cat with the back of my foot because I didn't know the cat was there. Why was I thinking there was a cat by my foot? You know what I mean? Anyway, as soon as I did, the cat just like ran away from me and looked really scared, and I was thinking, you're definitely being abused at home, or at least not looked after. Did make me kind of sad, like I said. But eventually, either that day or I think it was the same day, when then the little boy came out to get the cat, and I was just like, there's just a lot wrong here. This is all on the street that I live on, by the way. Circling back to the dog from last night. This dog is barking at me like a very small dog, and I was thinking, that's kind of crazy. And the way the dog was barking was like, it's like a mixed bark. It's so funny that I say this because have I ever had a cat or a dog? Nope. But I have a lot of experiences with them, similar to me and children, which I find to be quite funny. It wasn't just like a bark, like an excited bark or like a whatever. It was like, I'm trying to say something, and the dog was like half trying to get my help, I felt like, and half also scared of me at the same exact time. So now I'm standing outside the shop. There's this dog barking. As I'm going to walk towards it to like go and see what's going on and like ask it, like, what's up? Like, what's happening? Or like, if there's something happening, like direct me to where you're going. Is your like owner like bleeding out or something? You know what I mean? I then I try to walk towards the dog a little bit, and I'm talking in a very gentle tone, and the dog's running away from me. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to keep a distance because I don't want to stress you out because you seem stressed. And then I'm now standing with this dog just barking. There's all these people in their cars just watching the situation, and the people in the shop. And I'm like looking around because I'm trying to find an owner. Like, maybe they've just like run away from their owner, or they're just running a bit ahead or a bit behind. But then if they were with their so-called trusted human, then why the hell would they be doing this? Especially because the dogs are really loyal. Right, because that's the first thing I thought about that cat as well, was like, that cat might have just found a new home, low-key, because this is what cats be doing. And I remember even on social media once, I read this story, and somebody was like, how them and their neighbor realized that they had the same cat, and the cat was like staying at both houses and eating food from both places, because one person thought the cat was a stray and took the cat in, and then, you know, so that's why I was more concerned about the dog, because it's like, this is less dog behavior. Anyways, how the situation came to an end. We're never going to get to the Mr. Beast part of this, are we? We'll just do that as a separate video, I guess. As the dog, so yeah, this whole situation is, and I'm like looking around because I'm thinking, I can't just leave this dog here. But I don't know what to do. I hate being in situations where I don't know what to do. But that's how I was like, oh, I can't just walk away. Am I just going to walk away? Like, I can't just walk away because this dog looks so distressed. And you guys know how I feel about animals. You know, don't get me wrong. I do see us as humans at the top of the food chain. God gave us dominion and power. But I also believe in, like, loving and respecting animals. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there's that. You know what I mean? Like, when we used to live in Zimbabwe, we used to have chickens. that we would then kill to sell and or eat. You know, one of the highlights of my life, I must say. Watching the little chicks huddling together, like after they all hatched, because we got like 100 eggs, and they all hatched, and they all had their little incubator. It wasn't an incubator, they had a whole room, like outside in the garden. Anyway, not important. I'm now not knowing what to do, and then, just as I'm like kind of figuring it out, I hear somebody calling from the house near the shop, and then this house is like, they're calling out a name. And I was like, and ironically, it's actually the exact name I would use if I had a dog, funnily enough. and I dream about having dogs. It's another reason I don't want to just sleep, because sometimes I really be dreaming about the things I want. And then I wake up and I'm just like, oh, and it's still in this world. I'm not in the promised land. I'm not in the garden. Why am I going to torture myself with sleeping and potentially enjoying myself to then still wake up here? Or why am I going to torture myself just to wake up back in torture? You know what I mean? This is one of those jobs I will never understand. I will never in my life understand is people that sign up to, like, there's certain job roles where I'm just like, dude, one of them being this guy who's going around putting tickets on cars. It's like, but is anybody hurting anyone really? Do we not have enough things on our to-do list as adults? Do we really need to be then? Anyway, the other one is working for any tax organization, which again is why I believe Jesus chose Matthew, who was a tax collector, because it would have been like, oh, this guy. A lot of people, I think it was Matthew, one of the disciples was a tax collector. I'm pretty sure it was Matthew. And hence why he's written his book the way he is, because he's very organized and thorough in his way of writing, as you'll see in the book of Matthew. But anyway, when obviously people know about whichever the one was that was in the tree watching Jesus. But anyway, those are just the jobs. I'm like, any other job, because why? Anyway, so eventually these people start calling out, and as soon as I saw this family walk out, I'm not gonna let's just say, right, in my area, I've heard people describe this town in so many ways, but one thing I didn't know that people thought is that Essex as a whole, but especially where this town I'm in, people consider there to be a lot of like, what do you call it? I don't know what the word is. Where's my English gone? It was never here. People like criminals, basically, which is partially the fault of the town itself. One of the other ways they destroyed it is they decided to start, like, in these buildings, they refurbished a bunch of buildings, and then they would pretty much send all the ex-convicts and all the single mums to stay in these places. And if you could just imagine, that was a recipe for disaster. And they're all coming from London, mind you. So there's this kind of, like, especially where I live, people who class themselves as a hood. And I have to say, a lot of these young British boys, they really don't care about going to prison. I can't lie. They don't care. Because I'd be seeing them, like, all the time. I'm seeing them on police chase. There's helicopters. And I'm just like, and they're just like running through the forests, escaping. I'm just like, bro, this is insane. And then, like, if you saw them, they're not like what you would think of when you think of convicts, right? Because they're just, if they weren't dressed the way they were, you'd think they're just your average British lads. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I see these kind of characters coming out of the house, and I was like, oh, I know this situation. I've been here before. This is not my first day at the office. It's certainly not my first day in this town. And it all made sense, because then when they came out to try and get this dog, right, this dog was running from the owners. Like, so I was like, oh, okay. They're like, oh, thank you for finding him. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he's ours or whatever. But the dog was not running towards them. Normally if dogs get separated from, I know that people's dogs can, like, miss them all day and, like, cry having to be away from their owners and stuff like that. So to see these dogs, like, to see a dog running away from its owners, I was like, this is not looking good. And it was another one of those, what do I do here? And they were literally trying to chase him to try and grab him, and he was running away. Small dog, right? Really small dog. Very cute, actually. Love me the crows, man. They're just solo rangers. We're going to do a separate video on the Mr. Beast thing, guys. I didn't expect to start talking about animals. But then I saw that cat thing and it just jogged my memory that I wanted to tell you all about it. And yeah, and it's just sad, you know, human beings just suck. Like, humans actually suck. Can I just say that? Like, of everybody. And like, even another thing that happened on my road recently, and this is in, I don't know what month it is, guys, don't ask me. It could have happened a couple months ago, and it could have happened a year ago, and it could have happened a week ago, for all I know. My concept of time, because of my sleep schedule, is crazy. The other day, I couldn't believe it was today's the 22nd of January. I bold-faced thought it was like the 10th of January. Genuinely, like, so when I was like, I don't know why I'm so emotional, I'm ovulating, I was off. I'm about to start my period. Great. And I saw this guy, right, and I always notice him because he's very handsome. So I always notice this guy, and I usually see him with like a, like a stroller with like a toddler age child in it. So I'm like, okay, he's just a father doing his thing, whatever, right? Did that add to the attractiveness of it all? I would say yes, you know? But then there was one day I was walking to the shop in the opposite direction of the shop that I was in that day. This is why I like to be out, because I get to just observe people, what people are actually doing, not who people want to create themselves to be. I almost look at people like how I look at like the dating scene and why I just don't even believe in online dating. You get to like put out a version of yourself that you want to show. And the chances are, knowing us as humans, we like to overestimate a lot. We want to think the best of ourselves. But the truth is, you don't really know who you really are until you put to the test. This is why I love gaming shows, and hence why I get locked in with what Mr. Beast is doing, because he has the money to put it really to the test. So we'll do that as a separate video. Anyway, see, I'm walking up towards the shop. I see a bunch of kids, you know, probably the oldest was probably like maybe 12 and the youngest was maybe like 6 or something. And it was one of those where like all the little ones were holding hands with an older one, and their parents clearly told them, you keep hold of your sister's hand until you get to the shop and until you come back, you know. And so I even crossed the road to the other side just to give them space, because like this is a scary world out here. They're children and they do have to build up these skills, right? So I just tried to give them space, and I just stayed across the road and I was watching. I always keep an eye on everybody's children, to be honest, and the animals, as you can see, because I'm always looking out to just, you know, for situations like this. So I'm going towards the shop, right? I see them, they're like ahead of me. I delayed walking into the shop a little bit to give them a bit of space and to help them stay focused on task, because it just was one of those where I could just tell they had been given instructions. You know, I'm the oldest sibling, I'm the oldest grandchild on one side of my family and second oldest on the other. So I've had the talk of, and you make sure you're responsible, you're the oldest, you know, I've had that talk. I come out of the shop, everything's fine, they go in, they get what they do. I come out of the shop. This grown man is talking to them and they look really uncomfortable. This is the other thing I've been thinking about. I don't get how people feel comfortable imposing themselves on somebody that's clearly uncomfortable. That's why all this stuff that Epstein's and the Diddy's of it all do, I just don't get it. Like, I just don't get. Or even like when people do that with me, where like I'm like, you can see I'm visible, and because I used to ask God, I'm like, God, is it invisible to everybody that I'm uncomfortable? Because it seems like when I'm comfortable, when I'm saying no, when I'm like, it's like the number of times, there's a very small amount of times that I feel like my no's have mattered. And my mum always used to say this thing, which is so valid. She would say, no is the full sentence. Thank you for saying that. And I believe she probably goes through the similar thing, because bless her, she's small. My mum, she's like 4'11", and she's like the only woman, okay, she's 5 foot, I always tease her about that. She's the only woman in history that lost weight while she was pregnant. She's a very petite woman. And so I think me and her deal with both of the similar things. For me, I'm a bit more outspoken and out there, of just being like massively underestimated. And because people underestimate you, all their guards come down, and what they wouldn't do to like a grown man. Because sometimes that's how I feel. I'm like, you wouldn't do this to a grown man. Like with things that happen to him, like, you would not do this to a grown man. You would not. And you're doing this because you think I'm an easy target. But anyways, this guy comes out. He's standing there. I come out of the shop. This guy's standing there talking to these kids. And I'm thinking, the heck is happening? And it's a weird conversation. They look uncomfortable. So I asked the kids, right? And I stated that I was the teacher. And the reason why I stated that is purely because I don't want them to normalize talking to strangers, people they don't know, right? So it's not valid. They can't prove it, but at least I'm not just like any old other adult, because then how am I any different to him? But then I was concerned about them. And this is another one of those situations where I'm just like, you actually can't win in this life. Like, call the CPS, don't call the CPS. Call the flipping NSPCA, or what is it? Which is the one for the animals. or don't call them. Like, I don't know, because it seems like the victims are always worse. Like it's bad, or it could be bad either way. And who am I to decide which one's better with my limited amount of information? And this is why I trust in God above all else. But anyway, so I said to the kids, I was like, are you guys okay? Because you see, the thing about me, listen, I've been through enough in my life. You will not catch, I hate bullies. I don't care who you think you are. I don't care if everybody in the world is your biggest fan. You're the richest, strongest of whoever in the world. I'm going to speak. Me. And this, I find myself in these situations when I feel people are being taken advantage of, unfortunately, frequently. Hence why my opinion of the world is how it is. Talking to this guy, to these kids, they look, and so then I just addressed the guy directly. I was like, why are you talking to them? And he was like, oh, well, I was like, yeah, well, what are you saying exactly? Like, what are you doing here? They shouldn't be talking to you. Why are you talking to kids? Are they your children? Like, so this is me. I was sticking it on this guy, right? And he was like, no, but I mean, right? And then I was like, well, they shouldn't be talking to strangers, should they? As in, like, we all learned that, right? And he's like, yeah, no, I was just telling them not to talk to strangers. I was like, yeah, but now you're the stranger talking to them. Which is hence why I stated my case as a teacher. I was like, okay, can you leave them alone? And I stayed there until he was gone. Because I'm thinking, I didn't talk to them or anything, because they had their instructions. They knew what they needed to do. They just was standing outside the shop uncomfortably because I guess they didn't want to walk away. And then also, like, being a woman, it's like when you like are encountering these things, you don't just want to walk away or just go home, because then if the person follows you, they know where you live. The number of times I've walked home, right, and I've had to, and all the ladies know what I'm talking about, where you're near your house or whatever, or wherever you're going, and then you have to just pretend to go a different route because somebody's following you. And then you realize that they really are following you, because you'll do something like, so me, I've perfected the fake phone call. Hello, yeah, I'm just around the corner. How long are you going to be? Okay, perfect. They're like 20 seconds away. Oh, I can see. As soon as you do that, oh, I can see you. They walk away. I'm like, but why have you backtracked in the other direction? And if you had something to say, then start talking. They'll just be a weird creepazoid and just be following. And I told you I had a situation like this again recently. So I'm saying, I'm not making up stories. The things I'm saying on here, it's not like, oh, this is what I think is happening and this is what's happened 20 years ago. This stuff is happening now. I'm in a church, I'm all there, I'm sobbing tears because I got invited to this christening of these two twins who are the siblings of one of these other kids I used to teach. And I'm there in the church sobbing my eyes away at how beautiful it is to see this lovely family and have a special moment, and honored that they invited me and all this. This guy walks up to me, he's like, oh, I know you. In the church, he's like, oh, you should come to church. Obviously assuming I don't come to church, I don't look like I do. Perfect. I do not want to be associated with Christians. This guy then, he's like, yeah, you should come around here sometime. You should come to this church. God is really good. People start talking to you as if you've never met God in your life, because they just assumed by looking at you. The Bible says, trust in the Lord your God with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he'll make straight your path. Right? So anyway, this happens to me a lot, where some church person, I think they're going to come and save a sinner. And I'm like, mate, when was the last time you talked directly to God? Exactly. Get out of my face. Get out of my face, because I don't even want to talk to you about, why are you going to talk to me about somebody that you think I should get to know that you don't know yourself? What, because you grew up in that church, or because you've heard this, or because you want to think of yourself as a good person, you want to make sure you're going to heaven? Get out of my face. Anyway, I don't say that to them, by the way. I'm usually quite polite because it's sweet, people are trying to do something nice. But this guy wasn't. So he's just like, and he like slid, like the way he came, like, because it's like a proper like Catholic looking church. He's like slid in front, and I'm with somebody else, mind you. And he just starts talking to me. He's like, yeah, I've seen you. I know what road. You live on such and such road, right? And the funny thing is, this is why I've decided I will err on the side of paranoia. Because one time I saw him when I was coming from my house, and I was walking like almost I think the same route. I just walked route. I said route again. Route again. And I see him, and he's like looking at me strangely. And it was one of those where I detoured to avoid him, just to see what would happen, right? Because it's better be safe than sorry. I've learned that lesson the hard way. Better assume the worst. Because then if you don't, it's not like anybody's going to believe you. People are going to critique what you did anyways. It's because of how you dressed. It's because of how you walked. Because you did this. Because you did that. Oh, you sounded like you wanted it even though you said no. Whatever. I've detoured. And then this guy, And I didn't see him again. I was like, cool, maybe it was a situation, maybe it wasn't, but I did what was fine for me. And this is why I actually do like being out in public, because there's people around. Again, why I was confused with the dog situation, because I'm thinking to myself, there's a whole bunch of us here. Is nobody else going to like come in? Nobody else concerned about this dog, this small dog just barking at nighttime and like clearly distressed or something. Like even if you were scared or worried, I don't know. But like I said, it's not surprising that I always see this type of stuff just happening in broad daylight when there's all humans around. When you talk to anybody, oh, they're a good person, they would stand up, they would speak up. But then in reality, when it comes down to it, like when the situation is actually there, what are people actually doing? Circling back to why I love watching game shows with real people in it, because people are always shocked by their own actions. And I'm like, yeah, welcome to being a human being. Praise Jesus for dying on the cross, because we never would have, even if we think we would. Because we'd be like, oh my gosh, I was betrayed and I was lied upon. You know what? My whole people, they turned against me. So guess what? So great them. Everybody can go to hell. I get to go back to heaven anyway. And anyways, I'm better than, I'm going to sit on my high horse of self-righteousness. So yeah, so this is what I'm saying. Like, these are the things. I'm just giving you guys examples of things that I've seen happening with human beings in my little small existence. All of the situations I've just given you took place on technically you could technically call it 2 roads of my actual where I live. Not in some crazy place, not in the middle of the forest in the middle of the night. The ones I mentioned about like the kids and stuff, broad day. The other ones at night, but they were all related to animals and animals that were in distress. Broad day, I'm having the situations that are scaring me as a woman. And at nighttime, I'm seeing the realities of what's going on with children and animals. I hate it here. I just want to say that. But yeah, I'm going to come back and do a video about this Mr. Beast stuff. This is why I get obsessed. I get obsessive. And he's got a video when I get a chance to watch it later. Can't wait. I've saved it. He's doing 50 hours in Antarctica, which you guys know I want to just get the freak out of here and get to my castle by myself with my 9 huskies and my 5 Siberian tigers and my 4 Icelandic horses. Okay? Is that so much to ask? It is a lot to ask. And yeah, so this is why, guys. This is real life, real examples of real things that have happened while I've been there. And was anybody else jumping in to do anything? No. Another situation, I was coming from another store, it was quite late, and there was this group of people, clearly drunk, and they were like walking into the forest. Now, I all of a sudden had that deep feeling of like, oh my gosh, I'm really worried about this woman, because she'd basically lost the other 2 people she was with, who obviously weren't looking after, like weren't paying attention to her. I feel like she was third wheeling, because the other 2 looked like they were a couple, and she probably got the sympathy invite. Don't give people sympathy invites, you guys. Let's normalize just telling people, hey, this is just for us. But anyway, so they had caused, it started because they had an argument in the supermarket. I actually have a videotape of it. The staff were doing nothing. No one was doing anything in the supermarket, right? So once they left, because it wasn't like they were arguing with somebody else, they were arguing amongst themselves. And no, they started arguing with somebody else at first, because I don't know, maybe they got turned down to buy drinks or something. I don't know. I don't know if supermarkets can do that. I'm not in the know like that, right? Just like I'm not in the know of a lot of stuff, right? But I'm going to use what I have while I'm there. And so they were arguing with like a cashier, I think, and they started arguing amongst each other. And you might think, well, they put themselves in that situation, whatever. Listen, you don't know people's lifestyles. And like I've said, as somebody who has wanted to take my own life since I was like 7 years old, and who still does not see a point in being here and is very much talking about that with God every single day, I respect people that are at least fighting to live to the next day, because there's something that's keeping them going. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't really judge people for like, and also like I've said to you guys, everybody has their coping mechanisms. Everybody has their vice. Just because yours is legal, just because yours isn't in everybody's face, doesn't mean you're not just the same old slave like the rest of us. So again, why don't I sit on my high horse of self-righteousness? And so they come out, and I was like, I went to talk to them. Did I ask them if they wanted me to book a cab for her, this woman? Like, I think I asked her if she wanted me to book her a cab or whatever. Because it's like, you need to she's like, oh no, it's fine, I'm going home. Because she walks into one of these forests, in one of the deeper forests. A lot of the forests, like, right where I live, well, actually one of them is a big forest, so never mind. But I don't even go there anymore, as you guys have just noticed. Because they're just cutting all the trees down, it's just too depressing. If I'm in the middle of the night and it's dark and I can see all the way into the forest, you've cut too many trees down. Because before, it's like people wouldn't even know what's behind any. They could be just a few bunch of trees, or it could go on for miles. You would never know. Now, it's the middle of the night, all right? And I'm seeing all the way into the middle of the forest. That's like a long, big forest. Thinking, what the hell? The helly? But anyway. And she walks into one of these forests near one of the other stores I was going to. And I'm thinking, this isn't good. Like, so I just stopped her and I was like, hey, excuse me, are you okay? Like, and I had all this on video. I opted not to upload it all because I was like, you know what, maybe we won't do that. I was going to do it to teach a lesson because I was distressed in the moment. I was really sad. I was actually crying in the video afterwards because I just felt so bad for them, the situation that was happening. But then I was like, no, you know what, let me leave their privacy like to them. I wasn't going to include the footage in the store, in the supermarket. Anyway, but I was live because I was already recording when this situation started. So that's how that went. So I was like, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, do you want me to like book you a cab? Like, do you know, whatever. I didn't know what was wrong exactly. And the lady's like, no, it's fine. Like, I've booked a cab. I'm just looking for my friends. And I was thinking, because I'd actually seen where they went. I saw them both because I kind of like stopped walking where I was going. And I just kind of stood around to observe because I could see what was going on. And I was kind of just keeping a watchful eye like I like to do. I prefer to just keep a watchful eye. I like talking on YouTube and that's about it. And to a very select group of people, all of whom, except for maybe a couple people, are in the winning team anyway. Yeah. So I was just keeping a watchful eye. And this is why I think it's good that I'm always out and about, you guys. This is one of the reasons, because low-key, at least there's so much I want to do that I can't do. I want to bust these kids out of those underground tunnels and everything. But like, at least like all these situations for me are more valuable than absolutely anything else I do, excluding YouTube. That's an actual valuable use of my time. Teaching in the devil's education system is a waste of my life. But anyway, eventually, the cab did come. I kind of guided because she was like, "Where did they go?" I was like, "Well, they went that way." And I kind of waited for them to like come back out of the forest, and I walked her because the other two walked off without her again. I walked her to the cab just to like send them off and make sure that they were right, that she knew where she was going, that she was able to communicate like where she had to go and stuff. And yeah, so I don't know, guys. This is just why I see the world as a dark place, like, to be honest. Because this is just me. I'm not in the big city. I'm not in like anything extreme. This is just me in my very local places. Everywhere that I mentioned is no further than a 15-minute walk from where I live, most of which are 5 to like 7 minutes from my house. And this is what I'm seeing. And I'm like, why is it always just everybody's finding reasons to wash their hands? It's like the same reason I hate when people say, oh, I would give money to the homeless, but they're going to use it for drugs. So the hell they do. It's not about that. Who are you to play judge and jury? If you want to be helpful and pray to the Lord, like that your gift would be used in the best way. But also, if I was homeless and on the side of the thing and I'd been like, got myself in a bad place, was overwhelmed or had been betrayed or had been let down, because a lot of people in these situations, we know the classics, people go to war for their countries and end up homeless. The heck, why am I trying to just eat food just to live to tomorrow? I'd rather take the strongest dose of fentanyl you got, mate. Like, I'd rather end it here. So again, I respect those people because, like, hey, at least you're fighting for tomorrow. At least you care to hope, you are hoping to it. I don't want to go to sleep because I don't have to wake up and realize I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather just stay awake and then it's like the day never ended. And at least it's not a new day. And the sun is shining and everybody's so excited and like high off of tea and coffee in the morning, especially tea over here. It makes me literally want to slit my own throat, guys. Just that energy. Because it's like we're doing all of this, we're all excited, and what are we actually going to contribute to the greater society? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely zero. Nothing. We're going to just go on wanting to believe that we are these kinds of people, when in reality, we're just as selfish as the next person. We just want to believe. This is what I'm saying. And then who always ends up hurt and abused? The most easiest people to get away with: children, because of course the moment a baby leaves your womb, or the moment you inseminate a woman or whatever, if that's the right word, right? Now you are infallible, right? As long as you're an adult and you get to be whatever, you're big and strong or whatever, you get to do whatever. If you're an animal, if you're a child, if you're not intimidating enough, then people just feel like they can show their real selves. That's crazy. I found out crazy statistic about somebody who loved kids between the ages of 12 and 14. Who was it? I wish I could remember, because it's somebody really famous and like an old historical person that was like in science or like history, was with a really good reputation, but was another one who had a thing for young. And it's like, of course you have a thing. Of course you have a thing. It's like when people be like, oh yeah, oh you're quite young, yeah. Looking at me like, I see this all the time with these some men. There's plenty of lovely ones, by the way, which I have shared stories. Some of them, they look at me as like, I can see the look in their eyes of like, oh, you little dum. This is my game. This is my rodeo. I'm gonna write this story how I want it to, and you're just gonna follow suit. Because what are you gonna do? And I'm like, mate, first of all, you're messing with the daughter of the king. Second of all, don't underestimate me. Do not, because I promise you, I can do way more damage than you can. You might be able to hit me, hurt me, whatever, force yourself upon me. The psychological level of damage I can do because you underestimate me is far worse. So we all better thank the Lord that I decided to be the opposite version of Jezebel than become one myself. Because, mate, I don't know if I've said this before. In fact, I know I haven't. Even when it comes to sex, I'm not going to lie, guys. I know this isn't a good thing to say, but it's the truth. I honestly just always believed it was like a tool. I didn't realize until like a couple of years ago that people were really doing this out of enjoyment, because I just have always seen it as a tool. A tool that I don't wield. That I'm like, should I just? Because then the tables would turn quite significantly, wouldn't they? Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that. I'm going to talk about Mr. Beast in a separate video. But yeah, I'm glad I got all of that off my chest, because there's a few things there I wanted to actually talk about that I hadn't had a chance to explain. And this is what distresses me, because I'm just like, what the hell? And then seeing that cat, that they think the cat's missing, it's just another stupid thing of humans. The cat's not missing. The cat's wherever the cat wants to be, because that's cats for you, mate. No, we're worried. Please, can you just, if you've got any buildings, please open it, because the cat might be in there. Maybe question why the cat doesn't want to be with you. Maybe question that. You know what I mean? Anyway, life's a game, it's pay to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.